We're getting 156 million. Hold on a second. That's way more than I was getting before. Hold on a second. Oh, so now it will be full in 87 years. As you can clearly see right behind me, I've been a little bit busy. So for those of you who didn't watch the last episode, be sure to check it out after this one. In the end of it, I had said that today we were going to be building a fusion reactor. And so this is all going to be working towards that. So as you can see, I've set up 2 new thermal evaporation plants, and these things are taking in the brine from these ones, which are then making something else that's very special, which is called lithium. It's not showing it in here, but oh wait, no, it's making liquid lithium, which is then being deconcentrated into normal lithium. That normal lithium then goes up into these solar panels and then makes something called tritium, which then gets sent into this ultimate chemical tank, which then gets sent into a quantum entangloporter. Then right over here we have another setup which is taking heavy water from these electric pumps and then sending it up into a separator, which then makes deuterium and oxygen. The oxygen can go to as we do not need it, and the deuterium then goes up into another chemical tank, then going into another quantum entangloporter. Why do we have these? Well, deuterium and tritium are actually the 2 core ingredients in the fuel for the fusion reactor called DT fuel. Now, when it comes to DT fuel, there's 2 ways you can make it. One is you can make it in a chemical infuser and make it straight away, or you can make it inside of the fusion reactor itself. I am going to be making it by itself for 2 reasons. One is because I actually need some of it to start up the reactor in the first place, and also because I want to see if I can sustain it being at the DT fuel itself, because there are advantages and disadvantages, which I will explain later. But before we can do any of that, we're going to need to build the reactor itself. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to need the frames. But these frames are going to need polonium. And we're also going to need a lot of atomic alloy, so I'm just going to get that going right now. And then we're also going to go over here and grab ourselves a bunch of polonium. Hopefully 6,000 will do just fine. Gonna be honest here, didn't think I'd generate that much. So let me go ahead and get these reactor casings really quickly, just because it's literally just a bunch of crafting.
Later.
Alrighty, we got ourselves a bunch of the fusion frames. So now that we got those, we're going to need to make ourselves the controller for one thing, which is, you know, kind of an essential. And then we're just going to need to make these 2 ports right here. Hopefully that will be enough. So now, since this chunk is already loaded, hopefully this doesn't interfere. For safety, I should probably put this on the boiler, since this won't mess with this at all. Hold it, I forgot about something. I was supposed to make this thing right here, which is called the laser focus matrix, which just takes a little bit of reactor glass and some enriched iron. And the reason we have this is going to be for something very special, which you will see in a little bit. I apologize for the inconvenience. Ultimately, we're going to want the formation to be looking like a little bit of a nether star right here. So then we can put that there, and then right here above this, we're going to want to put the focus matrix, maybe? No, we put that there, then the matrix, and then we can continue up, and we need to continue this star formation on all sides. And the thing should look something like this. And then with all of these things connected, it looks like a little castle, actually. Oh my goodness, look at this! I'm like a little turret and it's shooting through a laser beam right here. Yes! Oh my goodness, I'm like in a space tank. It actually looks like something from space. Oh my gosh, I love it. That's way too great. Then what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to put the reactor thing right there, and then we can go ahead and then just put the ports right there. And if need be, I could make a 3rd port, because I'm pretty sure this does need to have power in it for some reason. How is it generating power? That shouldn't be possible. It looks like it's generating something. That is very weird. How is it generating? It's not on, though. Like, this shouldn't... Yeah, it's not working. It doesn't have the little animation in there. Either way, though, now that we have that, we can go ahead and then take this right here and then put the quantum entangloporters right on each of these sides. And then in these ones, we're going to want both sides to be input. That should be good, and we're going to want to change these sides so that way they're able to go in instantly. Then we're going to want to change this one on the left to D, and it should be going in. It is not. That is because this is not set to auto eject. I am sorry. So now it should be going in. Yep, there we go. Then we set this one to D, and remember to turn auto eject on here as well. Slap a flux point right on top and turn that bad boy on, and then this should be good to generate the DT fuel. There we go. It's all going well and good. So then after that, we're just going to need to make one last little item, and it's actually very, very simple, called a hull ROM. So to make the hull ROM, we need coal and gold dust. Do I have any spare gold dust? I don't, but that's fine because gold dust is very easy to get. I just need to crush it inside of not the enriching factory, the crushing factory. So then to make it, we just need to take the gold inside of the infusion and we get ourselves the hull ROM. And then with this thing right here, we then are going to take some of the DT fuel out right here. There we go. And then we just need to place that right into here. And then now the last part for this is we're going to need to build a laser. So the laser amplifier is probably the easier part. We're just going to need to make ourselves 3 of these energy cubes. Very, very simple. And then we can go ahead and slap all that together. And then after that, we're going to need these little things called lasers, which is gonna take a bunch of refined alloy. Okay, let's go ahead and make that. Then let's see how many of these lasers we're able to make. 2. We are able to make 2 lasers. All right, I got more lasers, so now let's go ahead and start setting this thing up. So the laser amplifier is what we're going to need to focus on the most, and we want it to be rotated in the correct formation. We want this to be facing that way. There we go. With the red dot facing that way, we know that's where we want it to go. Alrighty, I got all the lasers pointed in the correct direction, and now I'm just setting up these smaller lasers right here. If I can stop being so freaking fast. There we go. There we go. We just gotta point all those in the correct directions. Clearly this is not working properly as this laser is still firing. That shouldn't be firing. Oh, well, it stopped firing for right now. I could have sworn that you could have turned this thing off with redstone detection. Oh, wait, maybe that's what I did wrong. Oh, well. Too late now. So now all I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to set up these little laser things, and I'll show you all what it's gonna be doing. Alrighty, here we go. This is pretty much the whole laser setup that we got here. So what's happening is we're pumping power into these little laser things, which then sends the power over to the big laser amplifiers, because for some reason you can't just send power to this thing directly. So why we're doing this is because once I store up enough power into this thing, I can flick this lever, which will then shoot a massive amount of energy inside of here, which will then kickstart it. And I will know if it worked if the hull ROM is eaten. If the hull ROM is eaten, we're good. I do not know how much energy this actually takes to be able to kickstart this. So, like, 100 right here could be enough. It might not be. All needs to be in one massive surge. I've seen so many things of this, and I could never quite figure out what they were trying to say. So, we're really just going to have to take a wild guess here. I'm going to wait. I'm not sure how long it'll take this thing to fill up. I don't really have that kind of time, so I'm going to wait until it gets to 200 million, and then we'll give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, then I may have to wait for it to be full. I really don't want that, so all you please wish for me to not have to deal with that. Wish with all your might.
Nope.
Alrighty, so I decided to time in a bottle it, so I actually haven't been waiting here for that long, and we're already almost doubled what I was originally intending, so yeah. 400 million FE. Will this work? Will it not? If it works, you gotta hit that like button. Oh, it works! It works! It totally works! Yes, look at that! Oh my gosh, that is sick. Okay, so then we're gonna need to set this thing to something complex, and then have that thing disabled as well, and it is still working. Oh my freaking gosh. So the deuterium and the tritium is looking good. So if we go into here and look for that, it's constantly at 2 millibuckets. Oh gosh. Well, that is most certainly something very, very special. But yeah, we're generating quite a bit of power. I don't know how much it is, but here's what I do know is that, okay, it can generate a maximum of 400 million, it looks like. That could be the case. So when it comes to the fusion reactor, there's a multitude of things you can do with it. We're just doing the air-cooled version because if we did the water-cooled one, we would then have even more steam, which we would then have to pump into this turbine. You know, that would be a lot of other stuff that I don't frankly know, nor do I know how to deal with it. But this is pretty good enough, and the reason why we wanted to just do straight DT fuel rather than deuterium and tritium separately is, with deuterium and tritium separately into here, you can edit how much this thing burns. But with the DT fuel, it's always at its maximum with how much is being put in, and since I'm currently putting in 2 millibuckets, it's burning at 2 millibuckets. If I can put in more of this sustained, then we would be able to have even more of it in there. And it looks like we haven't even made a dent in this, but let me check these things just to make sure, because these are all separate things. So if we're looking at the tritium, that is still gaining, and the lithium is draining. That's fine. Hopefully, once I don't actually need to keep making the sodium anymore, this should be better. And actually, wait, that's at like 54 now. So I could probably just sever this thing now and it'll be completely fine, because I'm not intending on making this thing burn anymore. So yeah, I think I can just go ahead and like sever that thing's connection. So then let's go ahead and then set this thing just set to idle. So that way, once that thing is full, this thing is then full. And then it'll just go back to generating what we need it to. And yep, it is now going up. That was 100% our problem. And I guess if we want to increase how much DT fuel is going in here, we would have to upgrade this thing, but then I'd have to go back here and make sure that all these other things are still good. Speaking of which, I never checked the deuterium, but it looks like we're actually completely fine on deuterium. I was expecting that one to be my biggest problem, but apparently that was the tritium. Now, one thing to be forewarned about is that tritium can only be made in the daytime because of these things right here, so you're going to want to constantly have this thing at daytime. So if you're doing this thing like me, you're going to want to have like backup sources, like this chemical tank and then the quantum entangler. That's why I had that. That way, even though you could have a full nighttime and you'd still have some tritium to back up on, and this thing will never shut off. If this does shut off, you will need another hull ROM and some more power inside of these things. So yeah, I'll definitely be tweaking with this thing quite a bit, because I mean, this is quite a complex matter. I don't fully understand it as much as I thought I might have, but I mean, hey, you know what? We're still getting a crap ton of power. Like, holy crap, wait a minute, what the heck? Hundreds, thousands, millions. We're getting 156 million. Hold on a second. That's way more than I was getting before. Hold on a second. Oh, so now it will be full in 87 years. That's very good. So I think, honestly, the only way I can really tweak with this would be to add more of these pumps right here, so that way we could then get more of the heavy water, which is the stuff that is making the deuterium, because that's really the only place we're kind of slacking in. And then as for the tritium, all we really need to do is just add more of the solar panels, because like that's the only way we could get more of this. So there we go. We got ourselves our fusion reactor, which is generating a lot more than I thought it was going to. That is insane. As much as I would have liked to do more in this episode, I am gonna have to get the achievements here now. And oh, what the heck is a meat feeder? Wait, what is it from? It's from Industrial Forgoing. I'll have to figure that out at another point. But yeah, no, as much as I would have loved to do more, today has been a little bit of an off day for me, so I am going to have to cut this a little bit short. If this is short, maybe it won't be. Who knows? I'll have to wait and see for the editing. So either way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my last Oceanblock video. Bye-bye!